The morning sky above Washington, D.C. was clear blue when the alien ships appeared. Without warning, hundreds of massive vessels took position over major cities across Earth. People stopped and stared up at the strange ships. Some ran, some prayed, some took pictures with their phones. In the White House emergency bunker, President Olivia Reeves sat at the head of a long table. Her face was tired but determined. Military leaders, scientists, and government officials filled every chair. Screens on the walls showed the alien ships hovering silently over cities worldwide. "What do they want?" President Reeves asked, her voice steady despite her fear. As if answering her question, every electronic device on Earth received the same message at once. The alien transmission appeared on phones, computers, and television screens. A tall, blue-skinned creature with 4 eyes spoke in perfect English. "People of Earth, we are the Galactic Council, rulers of 5,000 star systems. Your planet now falls under our protection and authority. As is customary for all new species, we require tribute. You will provide 1,000 of your best humans, your brightest scientists, leaders, and creative minds. They will serve as cultural ambassadors throughout our empire. You have 30 Earth days to comply. Resistance will result in immediate planetary correction." The screen showed a small moon being destroyed by a single blast from one of their ships. The room fell silent. General Frank Warren, head of the Joint Chiefs, spoke first. "Madam President, our most advanced weapons wouldn't even scratch their ships. We've analyzed the footage. Their technology is centuries beyond ours." Admiral Diane Miller nodded in agreement. "Satellites show 236 vessels in Earth orbit. Each one appears capable of devastating firepower." President Reeves closed her eyes briefly. "So we can't fight, but I will not hand over our best minds to become slaves." UN Ambassador Patricia Collins spoke up. "Perhaps we can negotiate. Buy time until we understand their weaknesses." "They're not here to negotiate," said Senator Gary Phillips, his voice grim. "They're here to take." The debate continued for hours. Scientists suggested technological solutions. Military leaders proposed hidden resistance. Diplomats recommended stalling tactics. Nothing seemed workable. As the meeting was about to end, Senator Phillips cleared his throat. "I have an idea. It's not pretty, but it might save our best people." Everyone turned to look at him. "The aliens want 1,000 humans. They didn't specify which humans." He paused. "We have thousands of prisoners serving life sentences, people who won't contribute to Earth's future anyway." The room erupted in arguments. Ambassador Collins stood up, her face flushed with anger. "That's completely unethical. We can't just sacrifice prisoners. It's either them or our best scientists and leaders." Phillips fired back. "Which would you prefer?" President Reeves raised her hand for silence. "We need to consider all options, even the difficult ones." Dr. William Boyd, the science advisor, spoke thoughtfully. "If we did consider this approach, we could select prisoners with useful skills, people who might actually survive in an alien society, maybe even gather intelligence." General Warren nodded slowly. 1,000 people who have nothing to lose might be exactly what we need in enemy territory. "They're still human beings," Collins protested. "This violates every human rights agreement on the books." President Reeves looked around the room. "I want a full assessment of this option by tomorrow. Selection criteria, potential candidates, ethical considerations, everything. And this stays completely secret. The aliens are watching everything we do." As the meeting ended, President Reeves remained seated, staring at the image of the alien ships on the screen. The fate of humanity now rested on an impossible choice: send their best people to alien servitude, fight and face destruction, or try a desperate gamble with the lives of their prisoners. The clock was ticking. 29 days remained until the Galactic Council returned for their tribute. Warden Richard Hayes walked through the cold halls of Lakeside Maximum Security Prison. The sound of his boots echoed against the concrete walls. 2 armed guards and Dr. Karen Sanders, a prison psychologist, followed closely behind him. "How many do we need from this facility?" Dr. Sanders asked quietly. 50, Warden Hayes replied. "The best 50 you can find." They entered a small office where a computer displayed hundreds of prisoner files. Warden Hayes turned to Dr. Sanders with a serious expression. "Remember, we need people who are smart enough to function in an alien society. People who can think on their feet, but also people no one will miss." Dr. Sanders frowned. She still wasn't comfortable with this plan, but she had been told it was a matter of national security. A special rehabilitation program, they said. She didn't fully believe it. "I'll do my best," she said. For the next week, Dr. Sanders reviewed files and interviewed prisoners. She selected Alan Murphy, a former tech company CEO who had been convicted of stealing trade secrets. He was brilliant with technology and quick to adapt to new situations. She also chose Samantha Winters, a mathematician serving 30 years for hacking into government systems. Samantha had an IQ of 162 and could solve complex problems faster than anyone Dr. Sanders had ever met. On her list was John Daniels, an ex-military man who had been convicted after a mission went wrong. He had training in combat, survival, and leadership. He rarely spoke about his past. The most interesting case was Melissa Cooper. She had been a chemist before her arrest. Dr. Sanders read through her file multiple times and couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong with her conviction. The evidence seemed weak, but Melissa fit the criteria perfectly. At night, Dr. Sanders couldn't sleep. Why did they need prisoners who were good at science, math, and fighting? What kind of rehabilitation program needed these specific skills? Meanwhile, at 11 other prisons across the country, similar selections were taking place. The government needed 1,000 prisoners, and they were choosing carefully. At a secure military base in Nevada, General Warren monitored the selection process. A large screen showed the status at each prison. Names appeared as each prisoner was chosen. "How's it going?" President Reeves asked as she entered the room. "On schedule," General Warren replied. "We're finding some surprisingly useful people. Former soldiers, engineers, doctors who lost their licenses, even a few pilots. And they all have life sentences. Most of them. A few have shorter terms but were selected for special skills we need." President Reeves looked troubled. "What are we telling them?" "That they've been chosen for a special rehabilitation program on an isolated island. A second chance." "It's not entirely a lie," Admiral Miller said, joining them. "If they survive and help us gather intelligence, they might earn real second chances." Across the country, the chosen prisoners were being prepared. They received medical exams, fitness training, and basic education in various subjects. Most were confused but hopeful about this unexpected opportunity. In her office at Lakeside Prison, Dr. Sanders interviewed Melissa Cooper one final time. "Do you have any questions about the program?" Dr. Sanders asked. Melissa studied her face carefully. "Just one. Why would the government suddenly care about rehabilitating prisoners like us?" Dr. Sanders avoided her eyes. "People change. Policies change." "No," Melissa said quietly. "There's something you're not telling us." Before Dr. Sanders could respond, Warden Hayes opened the door. "Time to go. The transport arrives tomorrow." As Melissa was led away, she looked back at Dr. Sanders with knowing eyes. Dr. Sanders felt a chill. These prisoners weren't stupid. They would eventually figure out they were being sent to something far different than a rehabilitation program. And when they did, what would happen then? The transport ship, Liberty Venture, sat on the launch pad at a remote desert facility. Its white hull gleamed in the early morning sun. Inside, workers rushed to make final preparations. The ship had been built for space tourism before the aliens arrived. Now it had a very different purpose. Chief Engineer Laura Peterson checked the life support systems one last time. Her hands moved quickly over the control panel. "Everything looks good," she told Dr. William Boyd, who stood nearby. Dr. Boyd nodded and opened a small metal case. Inside were 1,000 tiny devices, each no bigger than a grain of rice. "Are these the trackers?" Laura asked. "Yes. Each one will monitor vital signs and collect basic data about the environment." Dr. Boyd picked one up carefully. "We'll implant them during the final medical checks." Laura frowned. "The prisoners don't know about these, do they?" "No, and they can't know. If the aliens discover the trackers, it could ruin everything." On the other side of the facility, the prisoners arrived in buses with dark windows. They stepped out wearing matching gray jumpsuits. Guards directed them into a large processing center. John Daniels noticed the high security immediately. "This doesn't look like a rehabilitation center," he whispered to Samantha Winters, who walked beside him. "I counted 3 checkpoints, all military," she replied quietly. "Something's not right." Melissa Cooper overheard them. "Look at the building behind the main facility. Those are satellite dishes, big ones. Why would a prison island need that kind of communication equipment?" Alan Murphy joined their conversation. "Those are deep space communication arrays. I helped design similar systems for NASA before. Well before prison." The prisoners were led through a series of stations. Medical staff gave them shots for tropical diseases. They received new clothes, basic supplies, and strange watches that no one could remove once fastened. "These will monitor your location on the island," a technician explained. "Don't try to remove them." What the prisoners didn't know was that Laura Peterson had designed the watches as makeshift communication devices. They could record and store small amounts of data, which could be transmitted when near certain equipment. As the processing continued, an alarm suddenly sounded. Staff members began rushing around with worried expressions. General Warren burst into the control room. "What's happening?" A communications officer looked up with panic on his face. "Sir, a council ship just entered Earth's atmosphere. They're requesting to inspect the tribute before departure. They're early. We still have 3 days." General Warren grabbed a phone. "Get the president. Now." Outside, a small alien shuttle descended toward the facility. Its sleek purple hull made the human ships look primitive by comparison. Dr. Boyd rushed into the prisoner holding area. "Listen up. A representative from the International Oversight Committee is arriving to inspect the facility. Everyone stay calm and don't speak unless spoken to." The prisoners looked confused but followed orders. Melissa leaned toward John. "International oversight. For a prison rehabilitation program. That makes no sense." "Nothing about this makes sense," John replied. Minutes later, the alien representative XR Thull entered the facility flanked by human officials trying to hide their fear. Thull was tall and thin with gray skin and large black eyes. He moved with strange, fluid motions. President Reeves herself had arrived to meet him. "We weren't expecting you until the official handover date," she said with forced politeness. "The council prefers to verify tribute quality before formal acceptance." Thull replied in a metallic voice. "Show me the humans you have selected." As Thull began inspecting the prisoners, military personnel quickly changed into lab coats to pose as scientists. They set up fake research stations and displayed charts about rehabilitation methods. Alan Murphy watched the hasty cover-up with growing understanding. He caught Melissa's eye across the room and mouthed 2 words that sent a chill through her. "We're tribute." The massive council ship Celestial Authority dwarfed the human transport vessel as it approached. From the windows of the Liberty Venture, the prisoners stared in shock at the alien craft. It was the size of a small city, with strange glowing sections and moving parts that seemed to defy physics. "So this is the truth," Samantha Winters whispered. "We're not going to any island." The truth had spread quickly among the prisoners after Alan Murphy's discovery. Some panicked. Others grew angry. A few saw opportunity. John Daniels had gathered a small group in a quiet corner of the ship. "Listen to me. We're heading into unknown territory. Our best chance of survival is to work together and learn everything we can." Vincent Rodriguez, a former gang leader with a tattooed face, nodded in agreement. "We need organization, structure, someone at the top." "We need information first," Melissa Cooper said. "What do they want from us? Why take humans at all?" The Liberty venture docked with the alien ship. A metallic voice announced, "All humans will proceed to processing in an orderly manner. Resistance will result in immediate termination." The prisoners were led through glowing corridors into a vast chamber. Aliens of different species watched them from elevated platforms. Some looked almost human. Others were completely foreign, creatures with multiple limbs, strange textures, or no visible faces at all. A tall blue alien approached. This was Krasanar, the Council Security Director. "The tribute will be divided according to aptitude and physical characteristics. Step forward when your designation is called." One by one, the prisoners were assigned to different alien groups. Scientists were claimed by the technologically advanced Vexnar. Strong, athletic humans went to the warrior craft. Those with social skills were taken by the diplomatic Kienteri. John Daniels memorized every detail as they moved through the ship. He noted guard positions, door mechanisms, and communication devices. His military training had taught him to always look for advantages in enemy territory. Melissa Cooper was assigned to a laboratory where strange plants were being studied. She used her chemistry background to analyze the alien equipment. Their technology was advanced, but the basic scientific principles seemed similar to Earth's. Samantha Winters found herself in a waste management facility, far from the important areas of the ship. But she quickly realized this position gave her access to data cables running throughout the vessel. With careful observation, she began to understand how the alien computers worked. Vincent Rodriguez was placed in food service, delivering meals to different sections of the ship. This allowed him to move freely and make connections between separate human groups. He gradually built a secret communication network, passing messages between the scattered prisoners. 3 months passed. The humans adapted to their new roles. They learned alien languages, studied technology, and mapped the ship's systems. Their prison watches secretly recorded data that they shared through Vincent's network. In his quarters, Krasnar reviewed reports about the human tribute. Something wasn't right. He pulled up the profiles provided by Earth's government and compared them to observed behaviors. "These discrepancies are concerning," he told his assistant. "The humans show skills not listed in their profiles. The one called Murphy understands our technology too quickly. The Cooper female asks questions about our biology that suggest advanced knowledge." His assistant, a small green alien, shrugged. "They are primitives. Their behavior is unpredictable. All new species show anomalies during adaptation." "Perhaps," Krasnar responded, "or perhaps there is more to these humans than we were told." Meanwhile, in a quiet maintenance corridor, John Daniels met with Melissa Cooper and Vincent Rodriguez. "I've mapped 80% of the security systems," John said. "Their weapons are powerful but predictable. My group in the lab has identified several weaknesses in their environmental systems," Melissa added. Vincent nodded. "Good. I've established contact with all human groups. We're ready to expand our operation." None of them noticed the small surveillance device watching from above, its lens focusing on their secret meeting. 6 months had passed since the humans arrived on the Celestial Authority. Alan Murphy stood before a panel of alien officials. They had called him for what they termed a knowledge exchange session. These sessions happened regularly, with aliens questioning humans about Earth culture and technology. "Explain again how your digital currencies function," asked a purple-skinned alien with 6 fingers on each hand. Alan began his explanation, carefully revealing only basic information. The aliens always wanted to know about Earth's financial systems, government structures, and resources. Alan had become skilled at telling half-truths. Suddenly, a blue alien entered the room. It handed a data pad to the lead questioner. The alien's 4 eyes widened as it read. "This session is terminated," the alien announced. "Security will escort the human to containment." 2 armed guards took Alan away. As they marched through the corridors, he noticed other humans being rounded up as well. Something had changed. In the council's high chamber, High Elder Zinvex slammed his fist on the table. The elderly alien's skin rippled with anger. "They sent us criminals," he shouted at the gathered council members. "Not their best minds, but their worst. Prisoners serving life sentences for serious crimes." Holographic images of the humans floated above the table, alongside their newly discovered criminal records. This Murphy was imprisoned for corporate theft, Winters for attacking government systems, Daniels for unauthorized military action. They are all convicts. Council diplomat Ishra, a tall, elegant alien with silver skin, studied the records thoughtfully. Yet they have performed their duties adequately. Some exceptionally well. That is not the point. Zinvex hissed. Earth has defied the Council. They must be punished. Perhaps, Eshra suggested, we should consider that criminals might be better suited to galactic politics than innocent civilians. They understand deception, power dynamics, and survival, skills that serve well in our society. Other council members murmured in reluctant agreement. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Karen Sanders sat in her apartment surrounded by documents. For months, she had been troubled by the prisoner selection program. Why had they wanted specific skills? Why the secrecy? She had started digging through records, following paper trails. A knock at her door startled her. When she opened it, Admiral Miller stood there. "We need to talk, Doctor," the Admiral said grimly. "Your inquiries have been noticed." "The prisoners," Dr. Sanders said, letting the Admiral in. "They weren't sent to any island, were they?" Admiral Miller looked tired. "No, they were sent to the Galactic Council. As tribute, you sent prisoners instead of scientists and leaders." Dr. Sanders was horrified. "It was that or surrender our best minds to alien slavery," Admiral Miller replied. "But there's more to it. Those prisoners weren't just sacrifices." She handed Dr. Sanders a tablet showing data streams coming from space. "The tracking devices. They're working," Dr. Sanders whispered. "Yes, every prisoner carries one. They're sending us information about alien technology, biology, weapons systems, data we could never get otherwise." "You used them as spies." Admiral Miller nodded. "Operation Trojan Horse. The real mission was always intelligence gathering." Back on the Celestial Authority, the humans had been gathered in a large holding area. Guards watched them carefully. "They know," Samantha whispered to John Daniels. "They found out we're prisoners." John nodded. "Vincent's contacts say they're deciding what to do with us." Melissa Cooper joined them. "If they wanted us dead, we'd be dead already. They're keeping us for a reason." "New orders from the Council," a guard announced. "All humans will be reassigned to low-level work units. Your privileges are revoked." As they were led to their new assignments, Vincent Rodriguez slipped next to John Daniels. "This might be good news," he whispered. "How?" John asked. "They're sending us to work in basic infrastructure, power, life support, security, the vital systems." John smiled slowly as he understood. "The most important areas of the ship." "Exactly," Vincent said. "They think they're punishing us. Instead, they're giving us exactly what we need." The humans adapted quickly to their new assignments. Spread throughout the lower levels of the Celestial Authority, they worked in engine rooms, waste disposal, food preparation, and maintenance. The aliens thought these jobs were punishment. They were wrong. Samantha Winters mopped floors near the main computer hub. Her job seemed simple, but it allowed her to observe the system access points. Each day she memorized the patterns of the technicians, how they entered the system, and what codes they used. At night in her small sleeping area, she drew diagrams and wrote notes. After 3 weeks, she had figured out how to access the main council database. "I need 5 minutes at that terminal," she told Vincent Rodriguez during a brief meeting in a supply closet. Vincent nodded. "I'll arrange a distraction tomorrow." Second shift. In another section of the ship, John Daniels worked in cargo handling. The physical labor was demanding, but it let him interact with other humans. He had slowly gathered a group of ex-military and police officers who were also among the prisoners. "We need to be ready," he told them during a meal break. "When the time comes, we'll need to move quickly." "Ready for what?" asked Ben Lewis, a former police officer. "I don't know yet," John admitted, "but something's coming. I can feel it." Melissa Cooper had been assigned to clean the quarters of alien officials. One day, while working in the rooms of a high-ranking diplomat named Grazkar, she noticed him preparing a strange liquid. "What is that?" she asked, forgetting she was supposed to remain silent. Grazkar looked surprised at her question. "It is a protection drink. Someone is trying to poison me." Melissa studied the liquid. Her chemistry background told her something was wrong. "That won't work," she said. "The base is too acidic." Grazkar stared at her. "How would you know this?" "I was a chemist before I was a prisoner," she said, then immediately regretted her honesty. But instead of reporting her, Grazkar became curious. He showed her the formula he was using. Melissa quickly identified the problem. "This ingredient reacts badly with your solution. Try this instead." She wrote a formula on his datapad. The next day, Grazkar returned excited. "It worked. You saved me from poison." From that day on, Melissa gained an unlikely ally among the council elite. Meanwhile, Vincent Rodriguez had built his communication network across the entire ship. Messages passed between humans through brief meetings, notes hidden in food trays, and coded phrases. Every human now knew about the special watches and how to store information on them. The next day, Samantha got her 5 minutes at the terminal. Vincent caused a small fire in another section, drawing away the guards. Samantha's fingers flew over the alien keyboard as she accessed the main database. What she found made her blood run cold. That night, she met with John, Vincent, and Melissa in a rarely used maintenance tunnel. "Earth is scheduled for resource harvesting," Samantha whispered. "They were never going to honor the tribute agreement. Once they get whatever they want from us, they plan to strip Earth of all valuable materials." "When?" John asked. 6 months from now. They're waiting for their main harvest fleet to arrive." Vincent cursed quietly. "We need to warn Earth." "I think we can," Melissa said. "I've been studying their communication systems. Our watches can transmit data during scheduled system updates. The aliens won't notice small data packets mixed in with regular maintenance signals." "What good will a warning do?" Vincent asked. "Earth can't fight these aliens." "Maybe not directly," John said. "But we have something they don't know about. We have 1,000 criminals with nothing to lose, placed in key positions throughout their ship." And, Melissa added, "we have detailed knowledge of their technology now. Knowledge we can send back to Earth." Samantha nodded. "Plus, I found something interesting in their security protocols. They never expected internal sabotage. Their systems are designed to defend against external threats, not internal ones." John smiled for the first time in months. "Then it's time we start the real mission." On Earth, a technician jumped from his chair in the underground monitoring station. "Admiral, we're getting data from the prisoners." Admiral Miller rushed over. For months, they had received only small bits of information from the tracking implants. Now their screens filled with detailed technical specifications, ship layouts, and security protocols. "Get this to our research teams immediately," she ordered, and informed the president. In the White House Situation Room, President Reeves reviewed the incoming data with her advisors. General Warren pointed to a holographic display of alien weapon systems. "We can adapt some of this technology to our existing platforms," he explained. "The principles are similar to what we've been developing, just centuries ahead of us." "How long until we can implement these changes?" President Reeves asked. "Weeks for the basic systems, months for the more advanced ones. But even the basic upgrades will give us capabilities we never imagined possible." President Reeves nodded. "Begin immediately. Operation Trojan Horse has been more successful than we hoped." Across the globe, military bases became hives of activity. Scientists and engineers worked day and night to incorporate the alien technology. Factories retooled to produce new components. Weapons systems were modified. Ships and aircraft were upgraded. Earth was preparing for what might come next. Back on the Celestial Authority, the humans moved their plan forward. John Daniels trained small groups in combat techniques during rest periods. He taught them how to disable the alien stun weapons and use them against their owners. "We'll only get one chance," he told his fighters. "When the signal comes, everyone must move at exactly the same time." Melissa Cooper continued building her relationship with Grazkar. The alien diplomat had come to trust her chemical knowledge and even requested her presence at official functions. "The council is divided over what to do with Earth," Grazkar told her one day. "Some want to proceed with the harvest. Others believe humans might be useful allies." "What do you believe?" Melissa asked carefully. "I believe any species that could turn a punishment into an opportunity deserves further study," Grazkar replied with what might have been a smile. Samantha Winters made her most important discovery yet. During a system update, she managed to access the ship's command protocols. The main weapons and shield systems are all controlled through these 5 access points, she explained to Vincent during a brief meeting. "If we could control those points simultaneously, we could take over the entire ship." Vincent nodded. "My people are in position near 3 of those points. We need to get to the other 2. "I'll handle it," John said. "Just tell me when." The day came sooner than expected. A message arrived from Earth through the special frequencies Melissa had discovered. "Earth is ready. Operation Trojan Horse Phase 2 authorized. Proceed when able." The next morning, as the ship's systems went through their daily reset cycle, the humans made their move. In 5 different locations, teams of prisoners overpowered guards and seized control of critical systems. John Daniels led the assault on the main shield generator. "Remember, stun only. We need them alive." Vincent Rodriguez and his team took the communication hub, locking the doors behind them. "Send the signal to Earth. Tell them we have control of the communications." Samantha Winters hacked into the ship's announcement system from the computer center. "Attention all humans. Operation Trojan Horse is active. Move to your assigned positions." Throughout the ship, hundreds of prisoners who had been secretly organized and prepared sprang into action. They secured key areas, locked down sections, and disabled weapon systems. In the council chamber, alarms blared. High Elder Zinvex looked around in confusion. "What is happening?" A screen activated, showing John Daniels' face. "This ship is now under human control. We have disabled your weapons and shields. Any attempt to resist will result in life support failure in non-human sectors." Zinvex turned to his security chief. "How is this possible?" "They'd been planning this for months," Krasnar admitted. "We put them in all the critical positions ourselves." On the bridge, Melissa Cooper stood beside Grazkar as human prisoners secured the area. "You knew this would happen," Grazkar said, not as a question. Melissa nodded. Earth was never going to surrender. Not really. 3 days after the takeover, an Earth ship arrived at the Celestial Authority. It was smaller than the alien vessel, but clearly built with newly integrated alien technology. Its hull gleamed with strange materials, and its engines glowed with energy patterns similar to council ships. Ambassador Patricia Collins stepped off the Earth ship with a diplomatic team. John Daniels and Melissa Cooper greeted them in the docking bay. "Welcome aboard," John said with a smile. "Never thought I'd see Earth technology out here." Ambassador Collins looked around in amazement. "Your intelligence made it possible. Every military and research facility on Earth has been working nonstop." In the main council chamber, the alien leaders waited nervously. High Elder Zinvex sat rigidly in his chair, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly in stress. Council diplomat Eshera seemed calmer, studying the humans with interest. Ambassador Collins entered with her team, followed by the prisoner leaders. She placed a data pad on the central table. "We propose a new arrangement," she announced. one that benefits both humanity and the Council. Zinvex hissed angrily. You sent criminals as tribute, and then seized a Council vessel. You deserve extinction. Yet here we are, Collins replied evenly. With control of your flagship and detailed knowledge of your technology, we could have chosen destruction. Instead, we chose conversation. Samantha Winters stepped forward and activated a holographic display. It showed Council ships throughout the galaxy, with specific vulnerabilities highlighted. We know the locations and weaknesses of 17 major Council facilities, she explained. We know how your weapons work, how your shields function, and how your communication systems operate. Vincent Rodriguez added, we also have evidence of Council violations against 12 different species, unauthorized harvesting, illegal genetic experiments, treaty violations. Zinvex sank back in his chair, the gravity of the situation becoming clear. Ashura leaned forward. What exactly do you propose, humans? Ambassador Collins gestured to Melissa Cooper, who presented the terms. Earth joins the Galactic Council as a full member, with all rights and protections, Melissa stated. No tributes, no harvesting, equal standing. Impossible. Zinvex shouted. New species must serve for centuries before earning membership. Those rules change today, John Daniels said firmly. Or we release our information to every species in the galaxy. Grazkar, who had been quiet until now, addressed the Council. The humans have demonstrated cunning, adaptability, and restraint. They could have destroyed us. Instead, they offer partnership. I support their proposal. Several other Council members nodded in agreement. Zinvex looked around and realized he was losing support. After hours of negotiation, a new treaty was drafted. Earth would join the Council as a probationary member with full protection rights. The prisoners would receive official pardons and be recognized as Earth's first galactic ambassadors. As the treaty was being finalized, Dr. Karen Sanders arrived with Admiral Miller. They had come to assess the situation firsthand. Dr. Sanders looked around in wonder at the alien chamber. Then she spotted Melissa Cooper across the room. You were right, Dr. Sanders said as she approached Melissa. I wasn't telling you everything about the program. Melissa smiled. And you were right to be concerned about sending prisoners. But it worked out better than anyone expected. What happens to all of you now? Dr. Sanders asked. We've been pardoned, Melissa explained. Some will return to Earth as heroes. Others will stay here as official representatives. John Daniels joined them. After living in space and seeing what's out there, prison cells on Earth seem pretty small. 2 weeks later, President Reeves addressed the United Nations. On screens around the world, she explained the new galactic reality and Earth's place in it. The prisoners we sent as a desperate gamble have secured humanity's future among the stars, she announced. They turned a tribute into a triumph. In the Council chamber, now partially redecorated with Earth art and plants, Vincent Rodriguez watched the broadcast with John Daniels and Samantha Winters. Not bad for a bunch of criminals, Vincent said with a grin. Former criminals, Samantha corrected him. Now we're diplomats. John looked out the viewport at the stars. There are thousands of worlds out there. New places, new people, new chances. Second chances, Melissa added as she joined them. That's what we really got. What we all wanted. The former prisoners raised their glasses in a toast to the future, their future among the stars.